The distress signal came from the edge of human-mapped space. It was faint, weak, and almost drowned in cosmic static, but the message was clear: help. Survivors need immediate assistance. Commander Elena Drake leaned over the main console of the human vessel Valor's Reach. The bridge was quiet, except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Signal origin? Elena asked. Lieutenant Kiran Patel checked the readings. Uncharted system. Just beyond the rim verge. Coordinates. Match a small alien colony, the Zorathi. Elena's eyes narrowed. The Zorathi were a peaceful species known for their knowledge of star maps and advanced energy networks. They had little defense, and they were politically insignificant to the Galactic Council. That meant one thing: the Council would do nothing. Has the Council responded? Elena asked. Negative, Kiran replied. They say it's low priority. They've already marked the colony as expendable. Elena's jaw tightened. She turned to the crew. We go. The galaxy may have forgotten them, but we haven't. Set course immediately. Hours later, Valor's Reach exited hyperspace near the system. What they saw made the bridge go silent. The colony floated above a small, rocky planet, partially destroyed. Energy towers were toppled. Smoke and sparks rose from shattered buildings. Small firestorms flickered across the remaining structures. And in orbit, a group of raider ships circled, waiting for stragglers. Kiran muttered, "They're too late." Too late for some of them. Elena's expression was grim. Then we'll be the ones who arrive in time for the rest. The crew of Valor's Reach prepared for action. Defense drones hummed to life. Shields powered up. Tactical displays lit the walls with targeting projections. Commander, Kiran said, the survivors are on the planet's surface. Sensors showed dozens of life signs clustered in the ruins of the central domes. Elena nodded. We're not leaving anyone behind. As they descended, communication from the raiders came through loud and clear. Leave now, humans, or suffer the same fate as your friends. Elena's voice was calm, but fierce. We don't abandon the helpless. Retreat is not an option. The battle was quiet at first, almost surgical. Human drones moved in precise formations, intercepting raider fire before it could reach the surface. Shields protected the surviving Zorathi while rescue teams deployed. On the ground, humans moved among the rubble, carrying wounded, repairing energy cores, and coordinating safe zones for survivors. The Zorathi stared in disbelief. These humans had arrived when the galaxy had ignored them. Why are you helping us? One survivor asked, voice trembling. Elena helped him to his feet. Because no life is worth leaving behind. The galaxy may have abandoned you, but humanity won't. Above, the raider ships realized their attacks were being countered efficiently. Drones disabled their weapons without destroying the hulls. Engines misfired under precise electromagnetic pulses. The humans were organized, intelligent, and unstoppable. The raiders tried to retreat. One by one, their ships faltered, unable to escape the calculated human control. On the bridge, Elena watched silently. Let this be a warning. Never assume weakness where humanity is concerned. By the time the last survivor was secured and the raiders had fled, the colony was partially stabilized. Systems were repaired, and the wounded had medical attention. Humans had arrived when the galaxy had turned its back. Elena looked at the stars. One day, the galaxy will see what happens when it ignores the helpless. One day, they'll learn. Humanity stands with those who cannot defend themselves. The Zorathi watched quietly, their eyes full of awe. The humans had come when no one else would, and the galaxy would not soon forget it. The Zorathi survivors huddled in the wrecked domes, their faces pale with fear and exhaustion. The humans had saved them from immediate death. But the threat of the raiders still lingered above and around them. Commander Elena Drake stood on the bridge of Valor's Reach, staring at the holographic display. The system was crowded with enemy ships and more could arrive at any moment. The Galactic Council had already refused to act. They had deemed the Zarathi unimportant, a minor species not worth defending. Lieutenant Kiran Patel spoke up. "Commander, the Council won't help. They've already labeled this as low priority. They'll do nothing while the Zarathi die." Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we do it ourselves. We can't just watch them die. Humanity doesn't abandon those in need." The crew of Valor's Reach nodded silently. They understood. This was more than a mission, it was a moral duty. They began assessing the situation. The raiders were lightly armed, but they were organized and ruthless. The Zarathi had no defenses left. The humans had numbers, superior technology, and tactical skill, but the risk remained. "We can't charge in blindly," Kiran said. "We need a plan," Elena agreed. "We'll divide our approach. Drones will protect the survivors on the ground. Our ships will disable raider weapons and engines without destroying them. Then we extract the survivors and move them to safety." Another officer, Ensign Mara Lee, added, "If the raiders realize they're being countered, they might try a direct attack on us." "We need contingency measures," Elena smiled faintly. "Contingencies are already in place. Every route, every drone, every ship is accounted for. They think we're explorers. They think we are weak. They will be very wrong." The humans observed the enemy fleet from orbit. The raiders patrolled the outer perimeter, scanning for survivors or intruders. They had no idea humans were analyzing their every move, learning their patterns, and preparing a surgical strike. "This is more than a rescue," Kiran said quietly. "It's a demonstration. If we succeed, it will show the galaxy what happens when humans intervene." Elena nodded. "Exactly. And we will succeed." The crew worked quickly, coordinating drones and rescue teams. Energy shields were calibrated to protect the survivors. Communication arrays were strengthened. Ships took up silent positions around the system. Meanwhile, the Zarathi watched in awe. They had been abandoned by the Council, left to die, yet these humans, foreign, powerful, and relentless, had come when no one else would. One survivor whispered, They care for us. Why?" A human medic replied, calmly tending to the injured, "Because every life matters. We do not leave the helpless behind. The galaxy may forget you, but humanity will not." As the humans finalized their plan, sensors picked up movement in the far system. "Reinforcements for the raiders? Possibly." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Good, let them come. We'll show them that underestimating humans is a mistake they'll never forget." She turned to the crew. "This mission will not be easy, but we have what they don't: discipline, intelligence, and the courage to act when others do nothing. Prepare for execution. We move in at 06:00 hours." The crew's resolve was unshakable. Humans did not rush blindly into danger. They planned, they calculated, and they struck with precision. And when they did, the galaxy would see that leaving anyone to die, especially with humans watching, was a dangerous mistake. The alarm on Valor's Reach blared quietly, not in panic, but in precision. The raiders had noticed the human ships and were moving to intercept, confident that humans were inexperienced explorers. They were wrong. Commander Elena Drake stood on the bridge, calm and composed. "All teams ready," she said. "Drones in position. Ships on silent approach. Execute the rescue." Lieutenant Kiran Patel activated the drone network. Tiny machines swarmed through the debris and smoke, intercepting raider fire before it could reach the Zarathi survivors. Shields flared as energy beams were absorbed or redirected. Every move was precise, every action calculated. On the planet's surface, humans moved quickly among the ruined domes. They carried injured Zorathi to safe zones, repaired emergency power cores, and restored communication arrays. The survivors stared in disbelief. These humans had arrived when the galaxy had abandoned them. Why? Why are you helping us? One survivor asked, voice shaking. Elena knelt beside him. Because every life matters, she said. The galaxy may have forgotten you, but humanity won't. Above, the raider ships fired relentlessly, but humans had already calculated every trajectory. Electromagnetic pulses from drones disrupted engines and sensors. Weapons misfired or froze completely. Ships drifted powerless, unable to aim or move. This isn't possible, one raider commander shouted. They're stopping us, without destroying us. Elena's voice came over all comm channels, calm and firm. This is your warning. You attacked the helpless. You thought humans would stand by. You were wrong. The humans were not fighting to kill. They were fighting to control the battlefield, protect the weak, and reclaim what had been taken. Every raider ship that attempted to flee was intercepted. Engines shut down. Weapons disabled. Communications jammed. The enemy was outmaneuvered. Without a single unnecessary casualty. Lieutenant Patel reported, surface evacuation complete. All survivors accounted for. Raiders are in full retreat but controlled. Elena nodded. Good. Begin recovery protocols. Restore power to the colony. Drones continue protective coverage until we are clear. From orbit, the Zorathi watched silently. They had been abandoned by the galaxy, left to die, and now they were alive because of humans. The humans had fought without anger, without reckless aggression, and without letting one life be lost unnecessarily. One survivor whispered to another, they are different. They are not just strong. They are something else. Indeed, humans were more than explorers. They were guardians. Strategic, disciplined, and courageous beyond measure. The raiders, now retreating, realized their mistake. They had underestimated humans. They had assumed weakness, inexperience, and fear. Instead, they had met precision, intelligence, and calm power. From the bridge, Elena watched the retreating ships. Let this be a lesson, she said softly. Never underestimate humanity. Never assume we will leave the helpless behind. The raiders had regrouped in the asteroid belt beyond the Zorathi colony, expecting humans to retreat after a single rescue. They were wrong. Commander Elena Drake stood on the bridge of Valor's Reach, calm and focused. All ships, maintain formation. Drones to perimeter. Phase 3 begins now, she ordered. Lieutenant Kiran Patel activated the tactical display. The enemy fleet moved in a tight formation, weapons online, engines primed. They thought humans were outnumbered, inexperienced, and cautious. They were about to learn the cost of underestimating humanity. The humans moved with precision. Drones disabled enemy sensors, engines sputtered under controlled electromagnetic pulses, and weapon systems misfired without damage to hulls. The enemy's movements were neutralized before they even began. This can't be real. A raider commander shouted over comm channels. Our fleet? Frozen? We are still armed, but we cannot move. Elena's calm voice replaced. Panic. You attacked the helpless. You thought we would watch. You thought humanity would retreat. You were wrong. Phase 3 is not destruction, it is control. On the colony planet, the Zorathi watched in awe as human ships circled above. Humans were not attacking recklessly. They were controlling the battlefield, removing threats without unnecessary casualties, protecting the survivors, and reclaiming stolen assets. One young survivor whispered, "They are beyond our understanding. They fight, but not to destroy. They fight to protect." Indeed, humanity's power was not just in firepower, it was in discipline, strategy, and intelligence. The Raider fleet attempted a desperate escape. Engines roared, weapons fired, but the humans had anticipated every move. Drones intercepted, disabled, and rerouted all attacks. The enemy was trapped in a perfect tactical web. Lieutenant Patel spoke quietly to Elena. "They thought one attack would scare us. They will never assume we are weak again." Elena nodded. "We fight with intelligence, not rage. That is our strength. That is humanity." By the end of the engagement, the Raiders were forced to retreat in complete disorder. Supply lines disrupted. Fleet command paralyzed. Communications jammed. Their morale shattered. On the bridge of Valor's Reach, Elena addressed the crew. "Remember this. We do not destroy unless necessary. We protect those who cannot defend themselves. We win with intelligence. And when the galaxy forgets, we act." The crew understood. Every action had been precise. Every life spared. And every enemy taught a lesson they would never forget. From the observation deck of the colony, the Zorathi whispered among themselves. "We were abandoned by the galaxy, but humanity stood with us." They did not abandon the helpless. The young ones clutched their families close. The adults looked at the stars, hope renewed. Humanity had shown the true meaning of power tempered. By restraint. Above the asteroid belt, human ships remained calm. No celebratory fire, no reckless pursuit. Just quiet control, discipline, and readiness for any future threat. The galaxy had begun to understand. Humans were not just explorers or diplomats. They were a force that combined intelligence, strategy, and moral courage. And any species that underestimated them would learn the hard way. Elena looked to the stars and whispered, "One day the galaxy will see what it means when humans act." And today they have seen it in part. The Zorathi were saved. The Raiders humbled, and humanity's legend grew, quiet but unstoppable. The Zorathi colony was quiet for the first time in weeks. Fires had been extinguished. Broken energy towers repaired. Survivors huddled in safe zones, their faces still pale but filled with hope. Humanity had arrived when no one else would. Commander Elena Drake stood on the bridge of Valor's Reach, her eyes scanning the horizon. The Raiders had been forced to retreat. Their fleet crippled, supply lines destroyed, communications jammed. Humanity had not killed unnecessarily. They had not sought revenge. They had only acted with intelligence, precision, and moral clarity. In the colony's central dome, Zorathi leaders gathered. They bowed respectfully as Elena and her officers entered. "You saved us," one elder said, voice trembling. "The galaxy left us to die. Humanity stood with us." Elena shook her head. "We didn't do this for glory. We did it because it is right. Every life matters. When the galaxy abandons the helpless, it is humanity's duty to act." The Zorathi nodded. They had been abandoned, left to die by the Galactic Council. Yet humans had proven that courage, intelligence, and moral strength could overcome the galaxy's indifference. Above the colony, human ships remained in orbit, shields up, drones ready. They were not celebrating. Humans never celebrated unnecessary destruction. They were observers, guardians, and protectors. Lieutenant Kiran Patel spoke softly to Elena. "They will remember this day. Not just the rescue, but how we did it. They will know humans are more than just explorers." Elena smiled faintly. "Yes, and the galaxy will learn. One act of courage, one act of intelligence can change everything." News of the rescue spread quickly. Across multiple star systems, species whispered about humanity's actions. A small, abandoned colony saved against impossible odds. A fleet of raiders crippled without unnecessary bloodshed. The galaxy began to see humans not as weak newcomers, but as intelligent, disciplined, and unstoppable guardians. The Galactic Council could no longer ignore them. For the first time, leaders realized underestimating humanity was a dangerous mistake. Back on the planet, survivors began rebuilding. Children laughed quietly in the safe zones. Adults repaired energy towers and communication arrays. And humans, calm, precise, patient, helped every step of the way. Elena looked at the crew. This is who we are. We act when others do not. We protect the helpless. And we teach the galaxy what it means to underestimate humanity. Remember this always? The crew nodded. Every action had been deliberate, every life preserved, every enemy humbled. This was the true power of humanity, calm, intelligent, and unstoppable when justice demanded it. From the farthest reaches of space, the stars twinkled as if nothing had happened. But a quiet warning spread across the galaxy. Do not leave. Anyone to die when humans are watching. Humanity will act. Humanity will protect. And humanity will stand. The Zorathi would never forget. The Raiders would never forget. The Galactic Council would never forget. And the galaxy had learned an important truth. Humanity may be patient, quiet, and observant, but when the helpless are abandoned, humans are unstoppable. One act of courage had changed everything. One stand. For justice had altered the balance of power. Humanity had shown what it truly meant to protect the innocent, and the galaxy would never forget the day they stood with those left to die.